How does a single mom making $38,000 a year with 2 kids, zero inheritance, and zero safety net walk into her boss's office and quit her job forever? Not for another job, not for a lottery ticket, not for a rich new husband, for nothing, because she doesn't need one anymore. That's exactly what Layla did this morning. And by the end of this video, you'll know the precise step-by-step method she used and the one number that decides whether you could do the same. Picture it, 38 years old. She places a letter on her manager's desk and says the words she's been rehearsing in her head for 3 years. I quit. Her manager looks at her like she said something absurd. You found another job? No? Then how are you going to live? She smiles. My money works for me now. 2 miles away in the break room of a logistics company, a man named Thomas stares at his phone. A text from Layla, a friend from a personal finance workshop 4 years ago. I quit today. Passive income covers everything. It took 10 years. It works. Thomas makes $85,000 a year, twice what Layla ever earned. His portfolio is growing. He understands how money works. But Layla, who never crossed $40,000, raising 2 kids completely alone. Layla, who everyone gently told, this isn't for you. Layla just did the thing he hasn't even dared to imagine for himself. She set herself free. Here's what nobody has ever told you clearly. Passive income is not reserved for people who already have money. Not for engineers, executives, trust fund kids, or founders who sold a startup. It's accessible to someone making $38,000 a year, raising kids alone, starting from absolute zero. The condition is not your salary. The condition is the method and time. Stay with me because what Layla built over 10 years, dollar by dollar, might change the way you look at your own paycheck tonight. 3 questions. We're answering all of them. 1. How did she actually do it? What did she buy, in what order, and with how much? 2. What are the only 2 pillars that every path to financial freedom through passive income rests on? And 3. What is the magic number? The precise figure that tells you the day you never have to work against your will again? But not yet, because Layla was 28 when she started. She was taking home about $2,600 a month. 2 kids, ages 4 and 6. Rent, $1,100, and exactly $250 left over at the end of each month. $250, that's what she built her freedom with. Year 1, a Tuesday evening at the grocery store, Maya, 6, and Sam, 4, sitting in the cart. Layla has her phone out, not scrolling, calculating, because going $3 over budget this week means $3 less on the first of the month. Maya points at a box of cereal with a cartoon tiger on it. Not this week, sweetheart. The store brand is the same thing. Maya doesn't argue. She's used to it. Hold that image. We're coming back to it. Now imagine 3 people living in the same city, in the same era. Thomas earns $85,000 a year. Financial freedom is theoretically reachable in 10 years if he stays disciplined. Matthew earns $52,000 a year. After 15 quiet years, he has invested $230,000. Passive income now covers 68% of his expenses. Almost free. Almost. And then there's Layla, $38,000 a year. Single mom. No inheritance. No help. And this morning, she's the one who resigned. Layla, who everyone looked at with kindness mixed with pity. It's good to dream. But you, with your situation, they never finished the sentence. They didn't need to. This morning, Layla proved that unfinished sentence was the most expensive lie anyone ever told her. Here's the first truth nobody tells you. Passive income is not passive at the beginning. At the beginning, it's very active. Years of discipline, years of hard decisions, years of building the machine before it ever begins to run by itself. This isn't the internet fantasy of financial freedom in 90 days. It's a system, built slowly, built silently, while everyone around you shrugs. Then, at one precise calculable moment, everything flips. The day your passive income becomes greater than your monthly expenses, working stops being an obligation. It becomes a choice. At an average annual return of 8%, invested money doubles roughly every 9 years. The first doubling takes everything you've got. The second takes almost nothing. That's why the word passive describes the destination, not the journey. Layla took 10 years, starting with just $250 every month. But before we get into exactly how she did it, let me ask you a question. How much money do you actually need to never work against your will again? Not luxury, not a yacht, just your real monthly expenses covered by income that doesn't require you to show up. That number, your number, is the most important thing you'll ever calculate. Most people work 40 years without ever calculating it. I'll show you the formula in a few minutes, but first, everything rests on 2 pillars. Only 2. The first pillar is the stock market, broad index funds, the S&P 500 or total market ETFs, bought regularly, held for decades, inside the right retirement and investment accounts. This pillar pays you in two ways. First, dividends, your share of the profits from the companies you own. Second, growth, value that you can eventually turn into income by selling small portions over time. A $600,000 portfolio earning an average of 8% can generate roughly $4,000 a month. Think about that. A full-time income without working full-time. And here's the detail almost everyone with a modest salary overlooks. An employer's retirement match is free money. If your employer matches 3% of your salary, that's an instant 100% return on every dollar you contribute. No investment on earth consistently beats a guaranteed 100% return. Layla didn't know this either, not until her second year. We'll get there. The second pillar is rental real estate, buying property that produces income, where the rent covers the mortgage, taxes, insurance, maintenance, and ideally leaves money left over every month. Positive cash flow. There's also a strategy called house hacking. It's one of the most powerful wealth-building moves available to an ordinary employee. You buy a duplex or a property with multiple living spaces, you live in one part, and rent out the other. Someone else helps pay your housing costs while you're building equity. Everything else, crypto, day trading, dropshipping, can work. But they usually demand constant attention and expertise. They're not truly passive. Index funds, rental real estate. That's the foundation Layla built her future on. Now here's the part that surprises most people. Layla didn't start with $500 a month, or $1,000. She started with just $250, and she didn't invest a single cent at first. Instead, she built an emergency fund. 3 months of living expenses, about $7,000. At $250 a month, that would have taken over 2 years. Too long. So she made a difficult decision. She took a second job. 3 evenings every week, babysitting. An extra $400 each month. Not to buy nicer clothes. Not to upgrade her lifestyle. Not to reward herself. To build security faster. Night after night, she got home around 11. Before going to bed, she'd quietly open the kids' bedroom door and watch Maya and Sam sleeping. Completely exhausted. Friends asked why she was working herself so hard. She stopped trying to explain, because every time she did, they looked at her like she was chasing an impossible dream. 11 months later, she reached $7,000. She opened a Roth IRA, set up an automatic monthly investment into a total market index fund. Then she forgot about it. Year 2, she changed jobs. The salary stayed almost the same, but this company offered a 401k with a 3% employer match. During orientation, the HR representative quickly explained the retirement plan. Layla raised her hand. So, if I contribute 3%, the company contributes 3% too? That's right. And if I don't contribute, that money just disappears? Correct. She signed up immediately. $95 came from her paycheck. Another $95 came from her employer. A raise nobody ever announced. Then something happened that terrified everyone around her. The stock market dropped 20%. Coworkers panicked. Many sold everything. Layla did the opposite. She bought more. Because long-term investors understand something most people don't. A bear market isn't the end. It's a clearance sale. The shares she bought during that downturn would be worth more than 60% higher just 4 years later. Panic sold. Patience got paid. By year 4, Layla had about $10,000 saved and invested. It wasn't much, but she'd done something even more valuable. She had learned. She attended free investor meetups at local libraries. She toured open houses, not because she was ready to buy, but because she wanted to understand how successful investors thought. She learned what positive cash flow really meant. She learned what repairs actually cost. She learned why a duplex in an affordable city could produce income while expensive properties often couldn't. Then, in her 4th year, she found it. An aging duplex listed for $185,000. It wasn't beautiful, but it had potential. She qualified for an FHA loan. With just 3.5% down, including closing costs, she needed about $12,000. Almost everything she had. She made the leap. Layla moved into one side of the duplex with Maya and Sam. She rented out the other unit for $900 a month. Her total monthly payment, including the mortgage, taxes, and insurance, was about $1,400. For the first time in her life, someone else was paying a large part of her housing costs. Her personal housing expense dropped from $1,100 in rent to roughly $500. The day she showed the property to her children, Maya looked around at the worn carpet and peeling paint. "Are we really going to live here?" Layla smiled. "Yes. And someone else is going to help us pay for it." "Who?" "Whoever lives on the other side of that wall." Maya paused for a moment. Then she smiled. "That's kind of genius, Mom." Layla laughed. "It has a name. It's called house hacking. And for the first time in my life, someone else is helping us build our future." Then something happened that could have destroyed everything. Halfway through the 4th year, Layla lost her job. Company restructuring, position eliminated, a small severance package, 2 children, a mortgage, on paper. It looked like a disaster. She walked out carrying a cardboard box, sat in her car, and waited for the panic to arrive. Years earlier, a $300 car repair would have destroyed her budget. Now, the fear never came. She took a deep breath, ran the numbers in her head. Her emergency fund was still there. Her tenant was still paying rent every month. Her investments were still growing quietly in the background. No, it wasn't enough to retire, not even close, but it was enough not to panic. Enough to search for the right opportunity instead of accepting the first offer out of desperation. That was the day Layla discovered something profound. Financial freedom doesn't begin the day you quit your job. It begins the day you have enough margin to stop making decisions from fear. By year 5, she had a new job, this time earning $42,000 a year. A better salary, not because she got lucky, because she negotiated. And she could negotiate, because she finally had options. Her automatic investments never stopped. Even during unemployment, she continued investing from her severance. The duplex kept doing its job, month after month. Her tenant continued helping pay down her mortgage. Her housing costs stayed around $500 instead of $1,100. That $600 difference created breathing room she had never experienced before. It felt like receiving a permanent raise without asking a boss for permission. Since buying the duplex, her tenant had already contributed more than $16,000 toward paying off her mortgage. Every month, the machine became a little stronger. She no longer went to work because she had no choice. She went because the machine wasn't big enough. Yet, that difference changed everything. Year 6. Layla accelerated. Another raise, now making $45,000 a year. She increased her investments to $600 every month. Every extra dollar the duplex produced also went straight back into investments. Then she surprised everyone again. She bought a second home, not another rental, a home for her family. She moved out of the duplex. Now both units became rentals. Together, they generated about $1,850 in rent every month. After expenses, the duplex was finally producing positive cash flow. Her friend Jessica couldn't believe it. "Where did you get the down payment?" Layla answered simply. "From my investments." Jessica stared in disbelief, but Layla had already done the math. The new home gave her children a backyard, and turning the duplex into a full rental dramatically increased its income. Money was now making more money, because every $10,000 invested at 8% has the potential to become roughly $46,000 over 20 years. Left sitting in a savings account, it stays almost exactly where it started, while inflation quietly reduces. The first Saturday after moving into the new house, Sam ran laps around the backyard, just because he could. 10 years earlier, a landlord's rent increase could determine whether her children stayed in the same school. Now, a tenant's rent check helped pay for the yard where her son was running freely. Nobody saw the machine. They only saw a single mother who somehow managed to buy a house. That's fine. Machines don't need applause. They just keep working. By year 7, something remarkable happened. Layla reached the tipping point. 2 properties. A rebuilt investment portfolio. 7 years of consistency through market crashes, job loss, moving houses, and countless moments when giving up would have been easier. Her passive income had grown to about $450 every month, around $300 from the duplex, and another $150 from dividends and portfolio growth. Still, it wasn't enough to cover her living expenses. Her monthly expenses were about $2,400, but something changed that year. For the first time, she calculated the exact date when her passive income would completely replace her expenses. She stared at the number on her laptop. Not 20 years, not 10, just 3 more years. If she stayed disciplined, bought 1 more property, and kept investing every month, she would become financially free at 38. Then she calculated what she called the magic number. Here's the exercise everyone should do. First, calculate your actual monthly expenses, not what you think you spend. What you really spend. Housing, food, transportation, insurance, utilities, everything. Call that number X. Now multiply it by 300. That's your financial freedom number. The amount your investment portfolio would need if you wanted to live on investment income alone. For Layla, her expenses were about $2,400 every month. That meant she needed roughly $720,000 invested. At first, that number felt overwhelming, impossible even. But then she realized something most people never understand. Rental income changes everything. Every dollar your rental properties generate is one less dollar your investment portfolio has to produce. $500 of monthly rental cash flow can reduce the portfolio you need by roughly $150,000. $1,000 of rental income can reduce it by nearly $300,000. That's why combining investing with rental property isn't just powerful, it's exponential. The two systems strengthen each other. That night, Layla closed her laptop with a completely different mindset. She no longer wondered if financial freedom was possible. She knew exactly where she was going. She even knew the date. Years 8 and 9 happened fast. She bought a third property, another duplex, paid for through years of saving, investment growth, and cash flow from her first property. Now she owned 4 rental units. Her rental income climbed to around $750 every month. Her investment portfolio contributed another $250 for the first time. Her passive income crossed $1,000 every month, without working extra hours, without taking another job, just because the machine had grown. Then she made another surprising decision. Instead of working 5 days a week, she negotiated a 4-day schedule. Her paycheck became slightly smaller, but with passive income covering the difference, she actually had more freedom than ever before. An extra day every week, more time with Maya, more time with Sam, and every dollar she didn't spend went straight back into the machine. Now, the machine was feeding itself. Then something incredible happened. For the first time, her assets earned more money in a year than she personally saved from working. Her money was officially working harder than she was. That moment has a name: escape velocity. It's the point where your assets begin growing faster than your own efforts ever could. From there, the machine becomes incredibly difficult to stop. Most people never reach this point, not because they aren't capable, but because they never begin the countdown. One Sunday evening, Maya, now 15 years old, found her mom sitting at the kitchen table. A laptop open, a spreadsheet filled with green numbers climbing month after month. "What is that?" she asked. Layla smiled. "That is the machine." She explained everything: the automatic investments, the index funds, the rental properties, the monthly transfers that had happened on the first day of every month, without missing once, for 9 straight years. Maya listened quietly. Then she asked a question. "Why doesn't anyone teach us this in school?" Layla didn't have a good answer. Maybe because most people are taught how to earn money, but not how to make money keep working after they've stopped. Now let's go back to where this story began. Remember Layla standing in her manager's office? "I quit. How are you going to live?" "My money works for me." At 38 years old, that sentence carried far more meaning than anyone realized. She now owned 3 properties, 4 rental units, producing roughly $1,200 in monthly cash flow. Her investment portfolio added another $500, about $1,700 every month, completely passive. Now some of you are probably wondering something. $1,700 is still less than her $2,400 monthly expenses. So how could she quit? The answer is hidden in 2 numbers her manager never saw. First, for the previous 2 years, her salary, combined with her passive income, consistently exceeded her expenses. Every month she saved the difference. By the time she resigned, she had accumulated nearly 20 months of living expenses in cash. Second, she understood the direction of the curve. Her rents continued increasing. Her mortgage balances kept shrinking. Her investment portfolio continued compounding. Within months, her passive income would naturally rise above her living expenses. Whether she continued working or not, she wasn't jumping without a parachute. She was simply stepping off a train that had already reached its destination. So that morning, she handed in her resignation, not because she hated her job, not because she wanted to stop working forever, but because, for the first time in her life, working had become a choice. And that's what financial freedom really is. Then something beautiful happened. Remember that grocery store from the beginning? The cereal aisle. The cartoon tiger cereal that Maya couldn't have because every dollar mattered. Years later, Layla and 16-year-old Maya found themselves standing in that same aisle. Out of habit, Maya compared prices on her phone. She reached for the store brand cereal. Then, she picked up the tiger cereal for Sam too. She smiled. "We can afford both now, right?" Layla smiled back. "Yes, both." Because 10 years of $250 decisions had purchased something far more valuable than breakfast cereal. They had purchased choice. Now, I have to be honest with you. Layla's story is true in its mechanics, but it also assumes conditions that not everyone has. Finding rental properties that produce strong cash flow isn't easy everywhere. In many expensive cities, home prices have risen so high that rental income often can't cover the costs. That's why many successful investors focus on more affordable markets. House hacking, renting by the room, or even investing in cities outside the one they live in. Each approach comes with its own challenges. Layla's story also assumes she could qualify for a mortgage. That wasn't automatic. She spent nearly 2 years improving her credit before applying for her first loan. She learned how lenders evaluate borrowers. She reduced debt, built a stronger financial record. And when she finally qualified, she was ready. One detail made all the difference, because she planned to live in one side of the duplex while renting the other. The lender was able to count part of that future rental income when evaluating her application. Most people never realize that's even possible. Most importantly, her story required something money alone can never buy: discipline. 10 years of consistency. Through layoffs, through market crashes, through moments of doubt, while friends upgraded cars, booked expensive vacations, and spent money the moment they earned it. Layla kept investing, month after month, year after year. That level of discipline doesn't come naturally to everyone, but it can be learned, and it starts with one simple decision: to begin. Even if the amount feels small, even if the progress feels slow, because every month you delay investing is another month of compound growth you'll never get back. Time is the one investment you can never recover. Here's the deeper truth hiding beneath all the numbers. Layla wasn't extraordinary. She didn't have a finance degree. She wasn't born into wealth. She didn't inherit a fortune. She wasn't unusually lucky. She simply refused to believe that her current situation had to become her permanent future. She refused to believe that earning $38,000 a year meant she would always struggle. Instead, she trusted a process, a simple method, applied consistently, starting with what she had, not what she wished she had. Just $250 every month. One automatic transfer, repeated again, and again, and again. Think about what that really means. At an average annual return of 8%, contributing just $250 every month can grow into tens of thousands of dollars over time. Leave it invested long enough, and compound growth begins doing work you could never accomplish alone. That's the quiet power of consistency. Passive income isn't about becoming rich overnight. It's about building protection. Protection against layoffs, against illness, against unexpected changes, against being forced to stay somewhere you no longer want to be. Because the greatest luxury money can buy isn't a mansion. It isn't a yacht. It isn't posting beach photos from some exotic destination. It's something much simpler. The ability to choose. The ability to say no. To walk away from situations that no longer serve you. To spend time where it matters most. Choice is the truest definition of financial freedom. We started this story with a simple question. How does a single mother earning $38,000 a year walk away from her job forever? Now you know. Not through luck, not through inheritance, not because someone rescued her. She followed a method, patiently, consistently, for 10 years. She built her future one decision at a time. The first pillar, index fund investing. The second pillar, cash flowing rental real estate. And the most important calculation, knowing your financial freedom number, roughly 300 times your monthly expenses, reduced by every dollar of passive rental income you create. Those weren't just financial strategies. They became the foundation of a completely different life. But here's what I hope you remember most. Layla didn't wait until she had the perfect salary. She didn't wait until the children grew older. She didn't wait until everything felt safe. She started with what she had. $250 a month. One automatic transfer, one step, repeated over and over again. Because wealth isn't usually built through one life-changing decision. It's built through thousands of ordinary decisions, made consistently. The truth is, most people watching this video will close it, feel inspired for a few minutes, then return to life exactly as it was yesterday. Nothing changes. The dream stays a dream, But a small percentage of people will do something different. They'll open a calculator. They'll add up their monthly expenses, multiply that number by 300, write down their financial freedom target, open an investment account, or finally begin learning about assets instead of only earning income. Those people won't become financially free overnight, but tonight, their countdown begins 10 years from now. Their story could sound remarkably similar to Layla's, because financial freedom isn't reserved for extraordinary people. It's built by ordinary people who make extraordinary commitments. If there's one lesson this story teaches, it's this: your current income does not define your future. Your current circumstances do not determine your destination. Your habits do. Your consistency does. And every month you invest in your future, you're buying something far more valuable than money. You're buying options. You're buying security. You're buying time. You're buying freedom. So tonight, ask yourself one question. Will you close this video and keep running on the treadmill? Or will you start building your machine? The choice, as it always has been, is yours. If you're ready to learn more about building wealth, passive income, and long-term financial freedom, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.